I'll be there, and she started getting her travel arrangements set to get there. So,
did she actually then come out to Colorado?
She did.
Where did she stay when she came to Colorado?
Initially, I don't remember how many nights. I think she stayed at my house for a night or two. I don't remember specifics. Majority of the time, she got a hotel in town. It wasn't long that we all stayed in the house because we had to leave. So,
when she got to town, and I think you said, did she come straight to your house?
I saw her for the first time at the sheriff's office, El Paso County Sheriff's Office downtown.
Okay. Well, was she staying somewhere in Colorado? Did she go to your house?
So she, from my recollection, she landed, came straight to the sheriff's office. I don't know if she did anything in between, but I saw her at the sheriff's office. We left there, I think, in my truck and went home to my residence, 6627 Manhattan Drive. Did
the fact that Landon was going to be staying in your house at 6627 cause tension between you and the defendant?
From her perspective, I can't speak for her perspective. I didn't see their need for tension because there's a little boy missing, and we got to fight together at that point.
Okay, but was there tension between the two of you over that decision to allow Landon to be at the house?
I believe it created some tension in her mind.
Okay.
No, I didn't have that tension. No, sir. I'm just going to speak to her.
A disagreement, though. Did she get mad at you for allowing Landon to be?
Yeah, we disagreed on that note. Yes.
Okay. At some point, then, did that cause the defendant to actually move out of the Mandan Drive house? And I'm not asking you for specific days, just a yes or no.
I believe that's what she said caused her. The defendant caused her to move out. Yes.
I'm going to object at this point. It's unclear if he's just speculating as to what was going on in the defendant's mind, or if this was actually verbalized to him. If it was verbalized to him, I think he can testify. If he's just speculating as to what she was thinking, I think it's inappropriate.
I agree. I don't think that he can testify as to what she was thinking at the time. He can testify as to what she did. He can testify as to what she said.
And that's what I'm trying to get across here. And I'm actually asking for a physical thing. Did she physically go to the house and take things out of the house and move out?
She did, absolutely.
Roughly when did that occur?
Within the first week.
Okay.
I don't remember exact dates. I'm sure we'll get to that.
Okay. And so if we can put up People's Exhibit 26.
.26 hasn't been admitted yet.
I move for admission of 21 through 31.
Oh, you're right. That's right. Yep, I'm sorry. Whoops. Go ahead.
All right. What is depicted in People's 26?
This would have been the defendant's closet in the master bedroom, bathroom area. Looks like it's been emptied out.
Okay, so did you move anything out of that closet?
No, sir, I did not.
Who did?
The defendant.
There's still some things that were left behind, it looks like?
Yes, sir, it appears so.
Are those some of the defendant's items as well? It may be hard to tell, but...
It's hard to tell. I mean, that, you want to be specific here? I mean, some of that stuff is my items, but...
So... I'm asking more about the things hanging. It looks like there's a belt or something, and then some sort of a jacket, maybe.
This belt looks like it would have been mine. Actually, I remember it because it had that little crease in it, and I cannot tell what jacket that is, to be specific about it.
Okay. And then People's Exhibit 27. Is this another view of that same closet?
Yes. So that would have been my sweater. I don't know whose sweatshirt that is. And those are linens from our bedroom.
Linens from your bedroom?
Yeah, up here in the top corner from our bed.
Okay. And then, so, looks like you said the defendant came in there and moved all those things out.
Yes, sir.
You didn't help her at all?
No, sir, there were other people helping her.
Okay. And then I want to jump now to People's Exhibit 28. What is this?
So this was Harley's room, and the door to Harley's room would have been over in this area, and then that's a door into her closet.
Okay. And then People's 29?
And that's walking into her closet, it looks like.
Her being Harley?
Harley, yes, I'm sorry.
So the clothes and the shoes and whatnot, is that all Harley's
Those are
belongings?
Harley's shoes, yes, sir.
And then when the defendant moved out the week of that 27th, did Harley also move out?
Harley did, yes, sir.
Let's move on to People's Exhibit 30. Is that Harley's clothes hanging in that closet?
Yes, sir.
And People's 31. Is that the way the closet looked after Harley and Leticia moved out later the week of the 27th?
Yes, sir.
You can take that down now, Judge. Thank you. I want to go through and have you describe for us how you all would communicate. Did each person basically in the family, and when I say each person, I mean you, the defendant, Harley, have cell phones
All three of us did, yes, sir.
with separate phone numbers?
Separate phone numbers, yes, sir.
And then was there a fourth phone number that was assigned to Gannon and Lena?
Yes, sir. It was like the kid's phone, yes, sir.
What was your phone number back then?
My phone number, 843-478-6714.
Who was the provider for that phone number?
I was.
I'm sorry, the cell phone provider.
Oh, AT&T.
Okay. And then what about Gannon's or the kid's phone?
843. I remember it was 6724 because it was just one digit off of my end. I don't remember the middle three.
Okay. So 843 area code. Mm-hmm. You have to say yes or no.
Yes. Sorry.
Okay. And then the last four, 6724.
6724.
Okay. Who was the cell phone provider for that phone?
AT&T.
And then let's talk about Harley. Do you remember her phone number at that time?
I don't remember off the top of my head.
Okay. Do you know who the cell phone provider
It
was?
was AT&T.
AT&T.
Also 843 area code for sure.
What is 843 area code?
That's coastal South Carolina at the time.
And then what about the defendant? Did she also have a cell phone?
She did.
Who was the cell phone provider for that phone?
AT&T.
Do you know her phone number?
Yeah, yes, sir. 843-655-7460.
During the course of the investigation, did law enforcement ask you for access to the phone associated with the kids or Gannon's phone?
Yes, sir.
We'll come back to that. We've already talked a little bit about vehicles. What was your vehicle?
I had I believe it was 2016, but Nissan Frontier. It was red, had a 6-inch lift on it, some big mud tires.
Was it a Titan?
No, it was a Frontier. Nissan Frontier.
And you said what year was it?
I believe 2016, either 2015 or 2016.
Okay. Who typically drove that vehicle?
Typically, I did.
Anybody else drive it?
The defendant from time to time.
Did she like driving it?
I don't remember ever enjoying driving it.
Okay. And then what about Harley? We saw a picture of it, but that was a white VW Jetta, I think you said.
Yes, sir. 2018, I believe.
And then what about the defendant?
She had, I think it was 2019, but a Tiguan, a black Tiguan with black rims and kind of blacked out tint on her windows.
Did you all own that vehicle?
No, that was a lease.
So now I want to jump back to what we were talking about earlier when she picked you up at the airport. Did she give you a reason? Did she say why she wanted to drive a rental vehicle as opposed to her normal vehicle?
Yeah, her reasoning was we would be doing a lot of searching and driving around looking for Gannon, and due to her vehicle being a lease, she didn't want to go over the mileage on whatever those requirements or allotments were.
What kind of vehicle did she rent?
A little small. I don't remember. I think maybe a Kia. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was a small little sedan.
What color was it?
I believe silver,
Was it white maybe?
maybe white.
You don't have a good memory of that?
I don't, because we just parked it in the driveway and drove my truck around. So, which made totally no sense.
So let's talk about that. Did you actually own the pickup at that time?
I did.
Not a lease issue.
No, I was paying the note off, but I mean, I owned it. It was my name.
Why was it strange to you the way you said this earlier, that there was a rented vehicle as opposed to her normal Tiguan vehicle that she was picking you up in.
Once again, and I know I've made this statement already about something else, but in these moments when it's an emergency, things like miles on your car don't matter. It doesn't matter what car we drive if we're going searching. So it just, and in the moment, I'm just like, whatever, just do what you want. But yeah, it didn't make any sense.
Did she tell you where the Tiguan was?
She did. She said it was, so yeah, because I asked, it brings back, remember, I asked, how did you get to the airport if your car's not here? Well, I parked it at French Elementary School, which is where she was employed. And one of my coworkers brought me, or former whatever it was, one of my coworkers brought me to the airport and dropped me off.
So just so we're clear, you asked her about that, and she told you that one of her coworkers drove her to the airport and dropped her off.
Absolutely.
Is French Elementary School close to the Mandan Drive address?
I mean, it's on the south end of town, but I mean, it's a couple miles away.
Okay. Did you ever drive over to French Elementary School to look for that vehicle?
I did.
Did you find it there?
I did not.
Did you find that odd?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about Gannon's relationship with the defendant. How would you describe that relationship?
Trusting. I'm comfortable saying I think he had love in his heart for her. I don't think he was afraid of her or any fear for her. One of the things about Gannon that is special, and I think it's special about a lot of young boys, he absolutely loved his mom. And he had some of that same love for Tisha too.
So he was a mama's boy.
He was, absolutely.
How was, I guess, who would discipline the kids? And when I say the kids, I'm talking about the little ones, so Lena and Gannon.
Both of us, both myself and the defendant.
I want to get into now your relationship with the defendant. We talked about how you met her. How would you describe the relationship? Was it a loving relationship? What was it?
At what point?
Well, let's start at the beginning.
I think loving is a good example. It was fun. It was, as you brought up, I was coming off of a divorce. So, yeah, it was fresh. It was new. I had a good time. I didn't have custody of the kids at that point, so we were a little bit more free and, things we could do.
How old were Gannon and Lena when you met the defendant?
When I met her?
Yep.
2 and 5, I believe. I think that's right.
When did you first move in together?
So my officer school took me through August. I had to go to a 2-week phase in Alabama. Landon and I sold the house. And it was I think I signed the papers and it sold while I was gone, but right in that same time frame, late July, early August, when I got back is when I might have moved my stuff into where we started renting a house, but I moved in late August.
Of what
something
year?
like that. 2014.
When did you first meet Harley?
Earlier in 2014, maybe March. I remember. Well, let me back up. I had exposure to her at the softball games and stuff, but I never really, had a conversation with her. But when I first met her, I actually remember helping her doing her homework the first time I met her. She was doing some vocabulary. I don't know why that stands out, but yeah, I was at Tisha's apartment in spring of 2014.
When were you officially commissioned in the National Guard?
I took my commission June 9th, 2016.
Did you change your duty assignment roughly around that same time?
Yeah, I was in National Guards, as you mentioned, is mostly reserve. So before I commissioned, I was enlisted, I made it up to Sergeant First Class, E7. And in active guard status, I had to resign my full time in order to take my commission. And then I was in the reserve status for about 9 months before I went to Alaska.
Okay, so what I'm asking is, did you have to change where you were living and where you were assigned with the National Guard after you took your commission?
Not immediately.
Did you at some point move to Columbia, South Carolina?
I didn't move there. As soon as I commissioned, like I said, it's kind of hard to explain. National Guard's a little different. I resigned my full-time status, but you can get on temporary orders. And so I was on temporary orders in Columbia for a couple months. But I was close enough where I could commute, half the time or whatever.
Okay.
But I just stayed at the Armory in Columbia, South Carolina.
So that's when you say you stayed there, that's where you were working.
I worked there, and then I got a cot and stayed in an extra room down the hall or whatever it was.
And then the house that you mentioned earlier in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, did you and the defendant buy that house?
Right around that same time, yes, sir.
Do you remember going to Oklahoma roughly around that same time as well?
I did. I wasn't slated to go until January, and this trip to Oklahoma would have been for 6 months, and this was for my basic officer course, not to be confused with the 2 weeks in 2020.
Right.
So I went there. I was slated to go in January, but somebody dropped out, so I was able to go, I think, the end of July, and it took me through December, just shy of 6 months.
Did you take either Gannon and Lena with you to Oklahoma for this 6 month period?
I did not. At that point, their mother still had majority custody, so but they did come and visit. There was a few holidays or whatever, and I came home a couple of times to visit during that time period.
What about the defendant? Did she ever come to Oklahoma to visit?
The defendant did, as well as Harley.
Did she ever move to Oklahoma during that 6 month period with you?
She never moved. I don't remember her staying at maximum a week. I don't even think she stayed that long at any point.
Was it that year, 2016, when you learned of the job up in Alaska?
I did. While I was in Oklahoma, I learned of that.
Was that something that interested you?
Absolutely.
Did you apply to that position?
Absolutely.
When you finished that training in Oklahoma in 2016, where did you go after finishing that training?
I came home, but came to the house that the defendant and I owned in Myrtle Beach.
Okay. When did you actually get transferred up to Alaska, if you can tell us?
Yeah, so I spoke to this earlier. I came here for schooling. I got here, I think, April 1st, did 2 months here, and then I took the trip with the kids up to Alaska. So I think June 9th or something like that, I got up there. But I was on orders in the Alaska Guard on my way here, and then just did my training. So
You said June. What year are we talking about?
2017, once again, yeah.
What was I'm a Navy guy, so I don't understand National Guard.
Okay.
Are they bases, forts? What are they called?
Most of the time, your typical National Guard duty is going to be at an armory, like a local reserve center or something. They're all over Colorado Springs. This one is a little different because it was an active Guard unit, which is kind of rare in the Guard. But it was at Fort Greely, Alaska. I was stationed and lived on base.
So how long were you stationed up at Fort Greely?
Just shy of 2 years. Like as I mentioned, I got hired on in March. Went to my school here, and then that was 2017, and then February 2019, I was transferred here.
Was it roughly around that time that you actually filed for custody of Gannon and Lena?
No, I think I actually filed for custody before I left to Alaska. So is that the time period you're talking about?
Yeah, so when did you file for custody of Gannon and Lena?
So like February or March of 2017. I don't remember specific dates, but it was before I was leaving. Yes, sir.
Do you remember a specific incident occurring prior to you leaving for training where you and the defendant got into an argument?
Yes,
in
sir.
2017.
In 20. Don't remember. Is there more you can give me?
I can't ask you leading questions, so I got to ask an open-ended question.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I think we did get into an argument, a verbal argument about me taking the job in Alaska. That was a point of tension for sure.
Did she tell you whether she was supportive of you taking that job in Alaska or not?
I don't remember specifically if she said supportive, but all indications were no.
Was that the sort of the source of the fight?
I would say yes. That was the source of many verbal disagreements and arguments in that time period.
Were you all living together at that particular time?
Yes.
When this fight occurred?
Yes, sir, in the house in Myrtle Beach.
Okay. Did the defendant take specific action regarding your belongings in the house?
Yeah, the day I was supposed to leave to come to Colorado for training, which would have been late March. I don't remember the specific date. Yeah, she threw all my stuff in the front yard and whatever, just said I'm done with you kind of thing.
Said that, so you said, she said, I'm done with you kind of thing?
And I'm not quoting directly, but that's the theme of it. I'm done. You can take your stuff and go and whatever.
Obviously the relationship didn't end then, is that right?
No, I think it was actually about a week or 8 or 9 days before we talked again. Not a lot of communication in those. I didn't talk to her the whole trip here, and then it was a couple of days after I got here, I think. So, yeah, it was tough times.
You mentioned earlier that the defendant actually did come up to Alaska.
Yes, sir.
When did that occur?